the catch-up drill they're doing on that side here, so if we can have your tickets there on those green cones. Defenders over here.
I love rugby, but it comes with its frustrations when it's your job.
I think being a professional rugby player is a wonderful thing and a privilege. Can be boring, can be samey, because it's a job. There are days when you don't fancy it and you've got to churn it out.
The reality is that it's tough. The schedule is relentless. It's a game every week. You're gymming and you're training and you're whacking into each other. It takes its toll on the body, but it also takes its toll on yourself mentally.
Rugby is a physical game, you know that when you sign up for it. I think most of us enjoy it.
There aren't many sports where you have to go through what we do.
The supporters, they see the end product on a match day, but there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of sacrifices to get to that moment.
I think the hardest part of being a professional rugby player was knowing so much about the game and knowing when you played badly, actually, because they say a week in sport's a long time, but some of the longest weeks I had in my life were after I'd played badly, after I'd let the team down, and awaiting a shot of redemption.
The place is great when you're winning. I think everyone will say that. When you're losing, it's tough to come in on a Monday morning after a loss.
If we do lose, then we look over it for a couple of hours, but then it's on to the next job, and I think you can't have more success if you just are stuck in the past.
I think it's important that you don't take the wins too high and take the losses too low. It's very unlikely you're going to go the whole season without losing. The game is getting faster, stronger, more physical. I think you see the size of some players these days.
I still talk to my Asian family, my aunties and stuff, and they don't understand why I'm playing this game that gets me injured all the time.
I generally pass the ball to the lads these days to run into a brick wall after brick wall, and I feel awful doing it. But the thing for me is I need them to do it.
All rugby players know the risks that come with playing.
That's the sport, and that's the way it's gone. And I can't see it really changing. I think everyone's just going to keep having to be bigger and bigger and faster and stronger.
I do think that the physical toll is a real thing. Lots of injuries, it can be hard. Was it that tough? Was it a real sacrifice? You know, there's people tarmacking motorways at 3 in the morning, mate. You know, it's not that big a sacrifice, and everyone's getting paid. I think everyone's all right.
But yeah, we are lucky. We've got the best job in the world. We get to play rugby for a living, so can't complain at all.
Do you play with much knocks? Do you get hurt much?
Yeah.
You do get hurt?
Yeah, I'm pretty tough, so... Yeah, pretty tough.
Injury's been a massive part of my career. I think I've had 10 or 12 ops.
4 shoulder surgeries now, at 26, which is a bit crazy, yeah.
Dislocated hip, that was the big one.
3 shoulders.
Tweaking my PCL.
Ruptured my pec.
Tore my calf 3 times, I think.
Split the Achilles, done a PCL.
Snapped my patella tendon, which is the biggest one. I actually took photos with all the players after the game. I thought that was me done. I'm at age 23.
You see a big hit, you go, wow, it's amazing, but you probably don't see the knock-on effect of that big hit on that person, how much that's going to hurt them and affect them for a long time. So yeah, we're very lucky to do this sport. We get paid to do the sport that we love, but it has a hell of a toll on them.
I think the mind in most things is the most important. Not just when you're injured, but in a season. I think if you're in the right mindset, you're quite happy and you can achieve stuff, where if you're in a bad mindset, if you go too deep into that dark hole when you get injured, I don't think any good things come from that.
I suppose every injured player has experienced it, like the game gives you these things and it's about how you deal with it. I think I'm unfortunate but fortunate that I've had a few injuries before, so kind of know that it goes like this. It's not this clear route to getting back. It can be mentally a bit difficult because it's just the injured boys in the gym, or a lot of the time you're doing these sessions whilst the boys are training, so you know where you'd rather be.
You get injured, you've got to do the same rehab every day, it's boring.
You make peace with it a little bit when you're injured. You have tough days where you feel like it's a bit Groundhog Day because you do a lot of the same stuff. I don't think maybe first game of the season, boys are feeling pretty good. Like pre-season is a time where you can get in good shape and try and sort out your niggles.
Everybody's injured. From week 1 in pre-season, you'll pick up something that you'll carry for weeks, months, if not the whole year, till you then can maybe go and get on a surgery table and get it sorted. I think it's a scary sport. If someone asks me, and people do ask me, say, do you want your son to play rugby? And sadly, it's a sad one for me that I wouldn't really want my boy to, or my girl to go and do it.
I think as a parent, rugby is a scary sport. As someone involved in the game, it's my duty to reinforce that I would love my kids to play rugby and really want them to, but them not choosing to play rugby is fine by me because they've got delicate little brains and we don't quite know what's happening to them.
I just think when you look at what rugby players put their body through, you look at how many don't get to 26, 27 because their body's broken.
It does take it out of me, like days after games, I'm real sore.
Some of the boys come in a horrible state, especially the forwards.
And I do have to come in and get treatment and get help.
It's a tough one. I think the game in essence is physical. You know what you sign up when you're a rugby player, you know there's a risk involved.
And it is just such a brutal sport. Massive men doing battle, I guess, isn't it? So how can you stop that? The sport is mental. It doesn't make any sense. So like everyone plays with stuff. Like I've seen boys get local anaesthetic before games. Like that's not uncommon. A lot of guys will take painkillers before games, anti-inflammatories. I've taken anti-inflammatories on the pitch. Like the amount of people that take that kind of stuff and use medicine, not necessarily to get through it, but to aid them playing and playing at a level that they'd be comfortable with is a lot. And we're not, you know, it's not just your paracetamols, it's fairly strong stuff, which is obviously medically prescribed and safe. You wouldn't do anything stupid on a match day because you know, you want to feel right, but I think people would be surprised what people do to get through it, which is our choice ultimately. I'd do it. If I felt okay, I'd do it. If it was the final tomorrow and I had an issue, I'd do everything I could to get through it. Load me up on, strap me up like a mummy, I'm going out there. It's hard for people to understand, I think, but it's just the way we're wired.
All of us have got sore bits and all that. I think you can deal with that. I think there's a wider conversation to be had, and the conversation's only going to get louder and wider around, never mind our bodies, the most important part of our bodies, what sort of nick our brains are in for the rest of our lives. That is a conversation that's going to grow. The fact that we don't quite know what's happening to our brains means that we're not consciously making a sacrifice. We're crossing our fingers that we're not making too big a sacrifice in terms of the health of our brains.
Like, I'm pretty comfortable with the risks I take. I think everyone is. Like, you wouldn't be in the game if you weren't, but I would be lying if I said that some of the things that have come out recently about brain injury isn't a bit scary.
I do get asked if I'm worried about early onset dementia because the people who are talking about having been diagnosed with it are my peers. They're my age. They're guys I played at the same time as those guys. To be completely frank, I just hope I ain't got it. I just hope I haven't got it, and I hope my mates haven't got it.
I can live with like the shoulder stuff. I saw a shoulder surgeon already and he's been like, the arthritis is pretty bad, you might have to have a shoulder replacement. And like, that's tough, but I can live with that. That's a price I'm willing to pay for the memories and the lifestyle that I live now, because I do love what I do.
We knew about knees, ankles, bones, shoulders, neck, back. We knew all those risks. We knew all that. We knew we were going to have operations. We knew we were going to get hurt. No one sat us down at 18 and said, before you sign this contract, lads, just want you to imagine the possibility when you're 50, you're in a home, okay, and you don't know who your children are and they don't know who you are, but the period leading up to that will be hell because you'll realise that dementia is setting in and you'll realise that you're forgetting who your family are and it will all feel like none of this was worth it, but here's your £5 a year academy contract, do you want to sign it? They are not conversations we had. And I like to believe and hope that we didn't have those conversations because people didn't know that was the risk, not because they were keeping it from us. Maybe that's naive, but I hope I'm right.